Today's case is simple on paper and poisonous in practice. A woman stands accused of stealing from the company that fired her. The evidence looks tidy. The motive looks obvious. Which one of them is lying, and why would someone build a lie so neat it almost convinces the court? Let's find out. If you love hard truths, quick questions, and verdicts that don't waste time, hit subscribe to Justice Stories now, and ring the bell so you never miss a hearing. The courtroom smelled of lemon cleaner and old paper. Reporters rustled. The gallery was half full. The real audience sat behind a screen in living rooms and kitchens, waiting for vindication or spectacle. Judge Clara Reyes walked in with the kind of authority that makes phones go quiet. She did not smile. She did not need to. Plaintiff, Marcus Lawson, 47, founder and CEO of Meridian Logistics, a man who wore his money like armor. Crisp suit. Controlled voice. He claimed a missing sum, a hole in the books, and one name attached to the ledger, Sarah Gomez. Defendant, Sarah Gomez, 31, former operations coordinator, single mother, community college night student. Plain sweater. Hands that shook only when she looked at her daughter's photograph tucked into her wallet. She had the look of someone who had spent too many nights calculating rent. Charge, embezzlement, alleged siphoning of $42,000 from Meridian's vendor payments over 6 months. Marcus's attorney delivered the first blow. Your Honor, we have internal audit trails, emails, and bank records. Meridian's forensic team traced the payments to an account created under Ms. Gomez's name. The pattern is clear. She had access. She had motive, financial pressure. We move for summary judgment. The courtroom hummed. The defense looked like a small island in a storm. Sarah's attorney, a younger public defender named Malik, leaned forward and said, quietly, we deny all of it. We will show reasonable doubt. Judge Reyes folded her hands. Then prove it, she said, and the trial began. Marcus's team presented logs, IP addresses, timestamps, vendor credentials. Screenshots of an employee portal with Sarah's login were projected. The prosecution had a ledger of small, recurring payments funneled to Luna Consulting, a shell vendor. Luna had a bank account opened 3 months after Marcus's company hired Sarah. The account's name matched her maiden name, the photos on the account matched her. The argument read like a tidy story: employee under pressure, employee steals. But tidy stories break when someone asks inconvenient questions. Malik asked, who set up Meridian's vendor portal? Who controlled admin privileges? Marcus's counsel shrugged like a man without responsibility. IT ran the portal. The logs show Ms. Gomez's username tied to the actions. Malik blinked once, then moved to the next witness, Trevor Hale, 42, Meridian's head of IT. Trevor wore apology like a wrinkle. He explained the company's system: we have role-based access. Users are assigned unique IDs. Admins handle vendor approvals. The system logs IPs and timestamps. Is it possible for someone with admin access to impersonate a lesser user? Malik asked. Trevor's eyes narrowed. Yes. Admins can emulate user sessions for troubleshooting. It's logged, but those emulation entries can appear deceptively like the user performed the action. A murmur in the gallery. Judge Reyes leaned forward. So, hypothetically, an admin can make it look like Sarah did something she did not do? Trevor swallowed. Technically, yes. But we have chain of custody on logs. That phrase, chain of custody, became the hinge of the case. Marcus's team believed it bolstered their narrative. Malik smelled uncertainty. Malik called his first witness, Denise Alvarez, 58, Meridian's once trusted accounts payable clerk. She shuffled to the stand, a woman with a soft voice and steel in her eyes. Ms. Alvarez, Malik said, Did you ever see anyone create or approve vendor accounts outside normal procedures? Denise's hands found the Bible but didn't need it. Yes. Twice. Once when the CEO asked for urgency, once when Trevor said they were testing emergency vendor setup. I remember because it felt wrong. Did you ever receive instructions that seemed irregular? Malik pressed. Denise nodded. I got an email from Marcus once, expedite these payments. Don't wait. I followed orders. I thought it was senior direction. Malik turned to the clerk's logs that the defense had subpoenaed. The entries showed admin emulation flags on the nights the payments were made. The IPs were from inside the company. The timestamps coincided with late-night system maintenance windows. Marcus's counsel tried to discredit the logs as technical noise, but Marcus himself began to sweat. He'd built a startup on control. He now faced a record that suggested his hands, or the hands of his executives, had been at work. Cross-examination of Trevor was surgical. Malik asked him to reproduce a process. On the large screen, Trevor logged into an admin tool and clicked Emulate User. The screen lit up with Sarah's user interface. Trevor performed a dummy transaction. The emulation left a subtle note in the logs, admin emulation, Trevor H. But Malik had prior discovery, a period in the logs where the emulation strings had been stripped. Trevor searched and found an old backup tape. We rotate logs every quarter, he said. But backups are kept. That backup contains emulation flags? Malik asked. Trevor's voice was small. Not anymore. There's a gap. Judge Reyes wasn't kindly. Is this a case about a missing ledger, or a missing conscience? She asked the room. Her gaze locked on Marcus. Mr. Lawson, do you deny access to admin privileges during the timeline in question? Marcus's mouth went dry. We had a skeleton IT team after our layoffs. I sometimes asked them to push through urgent vendor setups. I did not personally perform emulation. Then who did? Judge Reyes asked. A small sound came from the defendant's row. Sarah's neighbor, Jasmine, an elderly woman who'd sat through 3 of Sarah's late-night study sessions, stood up. She'd been allowed to speak at a recess and gave the court a letter that Sarah had written to her months earlier. They made it look like I did something, Sarah had written, but I don't know how to make payments. I don't have admin. The letter, simple and terrified, cut through the corporate language. Malik then presented bank verification. The Luna Consulting account, yes, had Sarah's maiden name in the registration documents. But the deposit history and withdrawal patterns suggested manipulation, large deposits at night, transfers moved through intermediary accounts before landing in a private holding. Malik's forensic accountant testified that the money trail pointed to a shell network controlled by someone who knew the company's internal routing, someone with privileges. The prosecution pushed back, producing images from the bank's new account onboarding, a scanned ID, a selfie taken to verify identity. It matched Sarah. The defense called an expert in facial forensics, who explained deepfakes and lookalike scams. These images can be spoofed, she said. Anyone with the right access could submit a document. Judge Reyes stopped the trial for a moment and asked the question every judge should ask: who benefits if Sarah is convicted? The room counted. Marcus wanted a quick scapegoat for losses and to close an audit gap before investors asked hard questions. The IT manager wanted to cover mistakes. A senior operations director, Daniel Cortez, whose name had not been spoken much, had motive. He had been rejected for a promotion Sarah had been up for before she was abruptly let go. Daniel sat like a man holding his breath. Under pressure, Daniel crumbled on the stand. He admitted that he'd authorized emergency emulation sessions to debug vendor issues and had once, in the middle of a heated Friday night, processed a set of vendor payments he thought were legitimate. I was angry that Sarah got in the way, he said. I wanted to make it look like the system had